Hello, class, and welcome to our ninth lecture series on international finance. And I'm your instructor, Jamal Haider. Okay, I have a very nice video to show you. So it will further, you can say, enhance your understanding of the world. So we do have debt crisis in America. So I'm sure everybody knows that. So we have a 5 minutes video and it explains perfectly that what happened there. So I'm gonna just shut down my camera so that you can watch a full view of the of this video. So let's watch together. Here we go.
Uncle Sam has a lot of bills to pay. Almost $4 trillion worth every year. Uncle Sam's income is a little over $2 trillion per year. To make up the difference, the deficit, he does what most Americans do. He borrows money. Sam takes out a loan. He calls it a bond. Bonds can be held by banks, investors, or even foreign governments. Uncle Sam has to promise to pay interest on these bonds, just as you do on any loan you take out. Ever think about paying your mortgage with your credit card? That's exactly what Uncle Sam does. He takes out new loans, new bonds, so that he can make payments on the old ones. All those loans, and especially all that interest, adds up. Right now, Uncle Sam owes about $14 trillion. To put that in perspective, 14 trillion is about the same as the national GDP, the total value of all the goods and services produced by the American economy in an entire year. It's such a huge amount of money that Uncle Sam is starting to run out of people to borrow from, and he's having trouble just paying the interest on his loans. The obvious solution would be to either cut spending or increase taxes. But if he cuts spending, the people that he's spending money on would complain that they don't have money to spend and that he was hurting the economy. If he tried to raise taxes enough to close this gap, not only would people definitely have less money to spend, he'd probably have riots on his hands. So Uncle Sam chooses the easy way to make money. Just make it. He calls up the Federal Reserve, which is our central bank, and, like magic, dollars are created and deposited in banks all around America. The problem is that the more of something there is, the less it's worth. Same goes for the US dollar. The more dollars there are, the less each one will buy. That's why commodities like gasoline, food, and gold become more expensive when Uncle Sam does his money-making magic. The commodities aren't really worth more. Your money is just worth less. That's called inflation. Remember the foreign governments that lent money to Uncle Sam? When they lent money to the American government, something interesting happened. It made the U.S. look richer and their countries look poorer. When a country looks poor compared to America, $1 of our money buys a lot of their money. So they can pay their workers only a few pennies a day. With such low labor costs, they can sell their products in America for lower prices than any American manufacturer can. The easiest way for American companies to compete is to move their factories overseas and pay their workers a few pennies a day too. This contributes to a recession. Americans lose their jobs, stop paying taxes, and start collecting government benefits like Medicaid and unemployment. This means that Uncle Sam has even less income and even more expenses. At the same time, the people who still have jobs are desperate to keep them, so they tend to do more work, but not to get paid anymore. When your dollars are worth less, and you're not earning more of them, that's called stagflation. And this is why Uncle Sam is in a catch-22. He can't raise taxes or cut spending without making the recession worse. And he can't have the Federal Reserve create more money without making inflation worse. For now, he can keep borrowing money, but since he can't even pay the interest on the loans he already has, it just makes his inevitable bankruptcy even worse. Whether it's in 2 months or 2 years, the day will come when Uncle Sam can no longer pay his bills. When that happens, the banks, investors, and foreign governments who are counting on that money won't be able to pay their bills. You see, Just like Uncle Sam, governments, banks, and corporations don't actually have much money. Mostly, all they have is debt to each other. If one link in the debt chain stops paying, defaults, the whole thing falls apart. If investors can't pay their bills, corporations won't be able to pay their employees. If banks can't pay their bills, you won't be able to take out a loan, use a credit card, or even withdraw your savings. If foreign governments can't pay their bills, their own banks and corporations will have the same problems. That's called a global economic collapse. It's never happened before, so nobody really knows how bad it will be, how long it will last, or even how we'll eventually get out of it. The house of cards has already been built. There's no painless way to dismantle it now. All we can do is to educate each other about what's actually going on and to prepare for what may be very extraordinary circumstances.
Okay, so I hope that video is going to be very interesting for you. You really had something new to learn. So from time to time, I would be showing you some videos because normally in my live lecture, in my face-to-face lecture, so we used to do this kind of stuff. And I received some messages from the students that okay, sir, you must include those kind of videos so that it's very good for understanding the real problems, practical problems as well. So it reminded me, okay, I should also include those kind of videos in my lectures as well. So from now on, I would be including some kind of like for you guys to watch the latest events, or at least the understanding of the big factors related to international finance, or that will enhance your understanding of the world. Okay, guys. So in our last lecture, we had our midterm. Okay, I have checked your part 1 and I'm still in process for marking part 2. I would be uploading the result and I will be sending you individually, I think next week. Okay, so let's move over to today's lecture. And we are going to start chapter 5 and I would be uploading its reading. So the chapter name is currency derivatives or derivatives. So let's start. So number 1, what is currency derivative or derivative? A currency derivative is a contract whose price is derived from the value of an underlying currency, which means the price of derivative is linked with another instrument or another asset or another, because we are talking about currency derivative, it means the derivative price is linked with the movement of other currency. If that currency goes up, your derivative price goes up. If that currency go down, your price of the derivative go down. All right, so that's why we call this derivative, which means derived from other currency movement. We do have stock derivatives as well. That means that we normally learn in our investment management. So in which the derivative would be stock derivatives. Okay, we do have the same names over there, but instead here the underlying currency is, the underlying tool is basically the movement of currency. All right, so that's why we call this currency derivatives. So example includes, so we do have a little touch before that, what is forward, future, and options. So today, from now on, we will be trying to find out its valuation, right? Because we do have, in our previous lectures, we do have some kind of calculations, but now we will be talking about extensively what are the uses of these forward, future, and option contracts and how we can use it in our international finance. So this class or this chapter is very, very important in case for you for your own business, because now the business are becoming more globalized, right? Even if you are having your family business, or you must need to find out that, okay, from which country, or do I have import and export benefit or not? If I want to expand my own business, so should I sell my product to other country, or should I buy cheaper raw material from other countries? Then how I can minimize my risk? How can I speculate on those risks? So we'll talk about this, how derivatives are used by MNCs. So remember, this book is US centric, and we talked about that we will be learning international finance with respect to MNCs, because these are multinational corporations. They have their own subsidiaries and other related sister companies in the different countries. So they are dealing with different currencies. So they must follow or apply international finance. But you can also use in your own business as well. All right, in your job as well. If you got a job in multinational company, then you must know this chapter is a pioneer for your job towards as a finance manager. All right, so this is basically a latest knowledge that we normally study in advanced classes like masters and PhDs. But here our agenda is that we will be trying to find out its valuation, its uses, and that, and how different theories behind that, and how to develop this kind of concept. So that is not the goal here, because this is more advanced. So we will be learning here for introduction, valuation, and uses. That's it. All right. So first of all, you can use the derivatives first to speculate. If you want to speculate, a very nice word that we talked about, that capitalized, which means we are using the currency movement to benefit for profit purposes. All right. So we use the word speculate or capitalize. All right. So normally speculation is also resembles to gambling, betting, right? Like short-term profits, you want to make that, like day traders that they are doing in currency markets. Okay, in the morning they come and they predict and they play with the value of dollars and other currencies, and at the end they sell all the sales stuff and take out the balance, keep it in their pockets and go. So basically, they are speculating, they are profiting, they are benefiting, they are capitalizing on the movement of exchange rate. All right, making profits. But the most important stuff, that derivatives can also be used to hedge exposure to exchange rate. So this is very fancy word, but in simplest language, hedge mean and exposure. Whenever you read in the reading exposure means risk. And when we talk about hedge risk or hedge exposure, it means reduce risk. Okay, so now from time to time, learn to understand the financial international finance terminology, language, or jargons. Okay, so in simple language, what we're talking about,